Hi, I'm Michael Woods, founder of Relational Crisis Prevention, and I've educated hundreds of direct care professionals and parents on a best abilities approach to managing challenging behaviors while maintaining strong and healthy relationships with those in their care. Relational crisis prevention is grounded in the belief that all people, even those with challenging behaviors, have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. And I believe that every individual should be seen as a person first, and therefore I'm committed to strengthening relationships with those in your care while providing you effective strategies for reacting to challenging behaviors. I've conducted seminars and workshops on crisis prevention for school districts, parents, caregivers, and churches, and my online training presentations have been watched by over 4,000 people who have wanted to learn effective strategies to prevent crisis behaviors. The online training presentation that you're about to watch is called Social Reciprocity. And if you'd like to see more training videos or informative articles, please go to my website at www.relationalcrisisprevention.com. Social reciprocity is a powerful social norm that I learned while I was getting my bachelor's degree in social psychology that reveals that we have a very strong tendency to treat others as they treat us. Now, as adults, you instinctively know this. You've had those experiences where someone has complimented you, and in return, you've complimented them back. Some of you, including myself, have had those experiences where someone has been less than gracious with their words towards us. And what did you do? Okay, I won't ask, so let's pick on me. What did I do? Well, I responded back to them with my own not so gracious words. Again, the theory of social reciprocity indicates that we have a tendency to reciprocate in kind the good things said or done for us, but also a tendency to reciprocate the unkind things said or done to us. So what does this mean for those of you who are caring for a child with special needs or caring for a parent who has dementia and they engage in challenging behaviors? So let's talk about what the social reciprocity theory means to you. And here's the core concept that you want to understand, and you want to make sure that you apply it. It's this. You want to understand that the behaviors and attitudes of caregivers influence the behaviors and attitudes of those in your care. And likewise, the behaviors and attitudes of those in your care will influence the behaviors and attitudes of you, the caregiver. Caregivers tend to understand this concept logically, but in the heat of the moment, when our care receivers are displaying crisis behaviors, we tend to forget this theory of social reciprocity. And when we forget, we tend to act on emotions rather than reason. Well, to effectively de-escalate crisis, it's essential to remember that nothing that you do and nothing that you say is going to be perceived as being neutral by the person in crisis. The person in crisis perceives everything that you do and everything that you say as either helping their cause or not helping their cause. And rarely, according to the research in the area of crisis management, is anything perceived as being neutral when people are in crisis. This means that everything that you say and do is going to have an influence on the person who is in crisis, your care receiver. Think back to a time when you were the one in crisis. Your emotions were high, your pulse was beating rapidly, and I'll bet that in that moment, anything that someone else did or anything that someone else said was not perceived as neutral. From your perspective, it either helped your cause or hindered it. So again, let me remind you from a previous online training video that you cannot force people to do what you want them to do. We cannot control the behavior of another person. Well, okay, if your care receiver is a little child, then you could make them do what you want them to do. But let's face it, as that child continues to physically get bigger, your days of forcing him or her will come to an end. With adult-sized care receivers, attempting to force them to do something will only escalate their crisis behaviors. So understanding the theory of social reciprocity reminds you that as caregivers, we can influence another person's behaviors by controlling our response to the care receiver's behaviors. And by doing that, we can safely de-escalate or prevent crisis behaviors.